All right, many of you had questions about problem number 19 on section 6.1, so I decided to do a quick video on it. A cheese processing company wants to estimate the mean cholesterol content of all 1-ounce servings of a type of cheese. The estimate must be within 0.18 milligrams of population mean. So the key point here is they said the estimate must be within. When you see the word within, that means that is your e-value. So your e-value is 0.18. Okay, once you know that, they're asking us to find out the minimum sample size. Do you see that? They're asking us to find out the minimum sample size required to construct 95% confidence interval. And they say assume the population standard deviation. The population standard deviation is 3.19 milligrams. So let's go ahead and do the calculations here. So I'm going to zoom this in. So I know that my e-value is 0.81 and my confidence interval is 95%. Remember, as soon as you find C, you have to find your ZC, and that is going to be stats, calculators, normal, in between, and then you will get your final ZC value as 1.96. If you don't know how to find your critical values, please watch the videos. My standard deviation of population is 3.19. And the formula for N is ZC, standard deviation, over E whole squared. So I know my ZC is 1.96 times standard deviation 3.19 over the E value is 0.81, and when I square it I get 59.58. I always round up, so it's approximately 60 is my sample size. Okay, so now you have your N value, and let's go ahead and see if that matches. And the N value here is 60, so 60 servings. Okay, first step done. Oops, let's see, the first step is done. Now let's check the next one. The sample mean is 3.1 milligrams using the minimum sample size with 95% confidence interval. Does it seem likely that population mean could be within 3% of sample mean, within 0.3% of sample mean? Explain. So my first step here would be to go ahead and find the confidence interval for 95% confidence. Okay? And to do that, what do? Go to stats, Z-stats, one sample with summary. I'm going to go ahead and plug in my values. My sample mean is 31 milligrams. My standard deviation is 3.19. And my sample size is what I got from the previous problem, which is 60. And my confidence interval, they want me to be 95% confident, so I compute. So you see that my lower limit is 3.19 and my upper limit is 31.81, rounding off to the next decimal place. I've seen from StatCrunch that the confidence interval at 95% is 30.19 and 31.81. But what they're asking me is, does the population mean lie within 3% of sample mean or 0.3% of sample mean? To do that, I'm going to be using two different colors here. I'm going to go ahead and use green. So I'm going to go ahead and find 3% of sample mean first. For 3% sample mean, what is my sample mean? 3% of 31, which is 0.93. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this. So they're asking me, will the population be 3% of the sample mean? So sample mean is 31. So I'm going to add 0.93. So that is 31.93 here. and I'm going to subtract 0.93, which would give me 30.07. So you see that at 3%, these are my confidence intervals, my upper limit and lower limit. Now let me check for 0.3. I'm going to use, let's say, color blue. For 0.3%, 0.3% of sample mean, which is of 31, which is 0.093. My upper limit and lower limit is, I'm going to add 0.09, so 31.093, and I'm going to subtract 0.3. So what I'm doing here is, this is simply 31 minus 0.093, and this is 31 plus 0.093. Remember, it is 0.93, so the margin of error is 0.03% of 31. So I add 0.93 here, and I subtract 0.93 here. Okay, same thing here too. I add 0.3%, which is 0.93, and I subtract 0.3%, which is 0.93. Now they want me to check if the population mean lies within 3% or 0.3%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use black color here. And I will draw a line, and I'm going to go ahead and write the actual 95% confidence interval, which is 30.19 and 31.81. So first I'm going to check for the green. First, I'm going to check for the green, which is 3%. So I'm going to check for the 3% here. When I graph it, I have 30.07 here and 31.93 here. So you see that the 3% is outside the 95% confidence interval. So it does not seem like the population mean could be within the 3%. Now let's check 0.3%, which is the blue, which is 30.97. So that is going to be 30.97. I'm roughly sketching somewhere here. I'm going to say 30.907 and 31.09. So 31.093. So you see that the 0.3% is within 30.19 and 31.83. So it does seem like the population mean could be within 0.3% of sample mean, and that falls inside the confidence interval. And if you look at it, the green falls outside the confidence interval. And hope this helps.